I made 3 mistakes in Tokyo before I even left the airport. I bought a rail pass I didn't need that cost me £150. I stood on the wrong side of the escalator and missed the train. And I nearly got turned away from a ramen shop because I couldn't figure out the ticket machine. This video is everything I wish I knew before I went to Tokyo. Most Tokyo tip videos are 5, 6 or 7 years old. The JR Pass price has gone up by more than 70% since 2022. Digital Suica now lives on your phone and you don't need to queue at a machine anymore. eSIM has replaced pocket Wi-Fi entirely, and Visit Japan Web, a step that can save you 45 minutes at the border, didn't exist when most of these videos were filmed. Some of the most viewed Tokyo advice on YouTube will cost you time and money in 2026. So let's fix that. Japan's border now uses a digital pre-registration system called Visit Japan Web. You create an account, upload your passport details and get a QR code. At immigration, that QR code puts you in the fast lane. Without it, paper queue that can add 45 minutes to your arrival at the end of a long-haul flight when you just want to get out of the airport. An eSIM goes into your phone before you board. Roughly around £15 to £20 with 10 gig of data in Japan. I use Airalo. There are others, compare them for yourself. You activate it the day before you fly. You land, you turn your phone on and you're ready. You have a signal. No counter, no collection, no second charge to remember. One less thing to carry, one less thing to lose. Suica is IC cards you use for everything in Tokyo. Every train, every subway, every bus. Most convenience stores, vending machines. For years, the process was arrive at the airport, find the ticket machine, queue, buy a physical card and pay a deposit. Figure out how to load credit onto it, then queue again every time you needed to top it up. And at the end of your trip, decide whether to keep it for next time or queue at a refund machine to get your deposit back. Then I found out you can do the whole thing from your sofa at home. iPhone, even a non-Japanese iPhone, can add Suica to Apple Wallet before you leave home. Android users, Google Wallet, top it up with your foreign card, you land, you tap your phone at the gate and you're already in the system. Do not spend 20 minutes queuing at Narita or Haneda Airport when you don't need to. The JR Pass has been the golden ticket of Japan travel for 30 years. The advice was simple: buy it, use it on the Shinkansen, save more. Every Japan travel guide I read for years opened with, get a JR Pass. And for a long time it was right. But here's the reality in 2026. The price went up by more than 70% in October 23. A 7-day ordinary pass is now around 50,000 yen. But at the most current rates, that's well over £200. A single Shinkansen return between Tokyo and Kyoto is around 28,000 yen. If your trip involves multiple long-distance journeys, Tokyo to Kyoto, Kyoto to Osaka, Osaka to Hiroshima and back to Tokyo, the pass can still work just about. If you're spending most of your time in Tokyo or in one of two cities, it almost certainly doesn't add up anymore. I sat down before my last trip with a piece of paper and priced every single journey I'd planned individually against the pass price. The individual tickets were cheaper significantly. I genuinely felt slightly betrayed. I'd been recommending the JR Pass to people without checking whether the numbers still worked. They don't, not for every trip. Take your current planned itinerary, place the individual journeys on Hyperpedia or Google Maps Japan. Compare it to the current pass price. It takes 20 minutes. It might save you more than £100 and it'll save you from repeating the advice the way I did. Tokyo has become more cashless than it was. It's not cashless enough to leave home without yen, and I want to be careful here because the honest answer is it depends entirely on what you plan to do. If every meal you eat is in a chain restaurant, every journey is on Suica, every coffee is from a convenience store, you can get further on contactless in 2026 than you could 5 years ago. But here's the thing about Tokyo that I love about Tokyo. The best food often comes from the smallest places. A 12-seat ramen shop down a back street. A basement bar where the owner has been grilling the same skewers for 30 years. A covered market stall where the tempura is made directly in front of you to order. Those places, cash. Almost always cash still. No card reader on the counter, no mention of Apple Pay. Just a handwritten piece on the wall and the assumption you came prepared. And trying to find a working ATM when you're hungry after a long day in an unfamiliar part of the city, that is not the moment you want to be solving that problem. Carry a minimum of £60 or therearound in the equivalent yen at any point in the trip. Replenish it before it's gone. This one caught me genuinely off guard the first time it happened, and I'd read about it beforehand. I was in a perfectly central area of Tokyo. I needed cash. I found what looked like an entirely normal bank on an entirely normal street. Walked up to the ATM, inserted my card, and it rejected it. Not declined, rejected. As in the machine does not accept your card, please leave. Found another one, same thing. By the third ATM, I was starting to wonder if something had gone wrong with my card specifically. Nothing had gone wrong with my card. The vast majority of Japanese ATMs are configured for domestic cards only. Your foreign Visa, MasterCard, Amex, unless the machine specifically mentions or advertises international cards, it will not work. 7-Eleven ATMs accept foreign cards. Japan Post ATMs accept foreign cards. Every time, no issue beyond whatever your bank charges for the conversion. And given that there's a 7-Eleven roughly every 3 to 5 minutes of walking in any direction in Tokyo, this is actually not a difficult problem to solve. It just helps considerably to know what you're looking for before you standing at your third rejected ATM, slightly in disbelief, with an increasingly urgent need for cash. I bought a Tokyo Metro Day Pass. Seems logical. Tokyo Metro runs a significant part of the underground network. I was spending the day moving across the city. A day pass saves the friction of topping up Suica. Simple. Except two of the lines I needed for that day were the Toei subway lines. Not the Metro, Toei. And one of the stations I wanted, Shinjuku Sankom, requires you to exit the metro system, walk through a connecting passage, and enter Toei through a separate gate, even though both stations share a building and a name. Tokyo's Underground is three separate companies: JR East, Tokyo Metro, and Toei Subway. Different trains, different pricing, different passes. Your digital Suica handles all three automatically. Tap in, tap out, correct fare calculated. That's fine. The problem only comes when you buy a day pass assuming it covers the whole network. Before buying any day pass, check that every journey in your plan runs on the operator's lines. Google Maps shows you which operator runs each segment. I had done my research. I knew Japan had escalator etiquette. I knew you stand on one side and leave the other for people who need to walk. I got to my first escalator in Tokyo. People everywhere. I confidently stepped to the right. Within about 4 seconds, I was aware a queue was forming behind me. Absolutely nobody standing beside me, and a very specific quality of polite silence that told me I'd done something wrong without anyone needing to say a word. I moved to the left. I did not make eye contact with anyone. I stared at my phone for the duration of that escalator ride as if I was reading the most fascinating thing I'd ever seen. Tokyo stand left, walk right. I'd confused it with Osaka, where it's exactly the opposite. Stand right, walk left. Same country, different city, different convention. If you visit in both cities on the same trip, you do actively have to switch between them. I will not pretend that it comes easy. I'm going to give you the rules first and then tell you why they're significantly easier to follow than they might sound. No eating, no drinking, phone completely silent, not vibrate, not low volume, not pretty quiet. Silent calls on the train are considered genuinely disrespectful to other passengers. If you need to take an urgent one, wait for the next stop and step off the carriage. Your bag goes in front of you or on your lap or in the overhead rack, not on the seat beside you when the carriage is full. On the platform, people queue at the marked positions and wait for passengers to exit. When you step onto a Tokyo train, you understand every single one of their rules within 30 seconds without anyone explaining them to you, because everyone around you is already demonstrating them. It's a social norm that's visible in every direction you look. You watch what everyone else does, you follow, you realise the train's carriage is a result remarkably peaceful. The one that catches visitors the most consistently isn't the phone calls. Most people know about that. It's the notification sound, the game sound, the video playing at what likely feels an acceptable low level but still audible 3 rows back. Silent means silent, every sound of it. You'll figure it out within 5 minutes of being on the train. The environment teaches you. Most Tokyo Tips videos cover this. Most of them frame it as tipping isn't really expected, so you don't need to worry about it, which makes it sound like a pleasant optional extra you can comfortably skip. That undersells what's actually happening in Japan. Tipping in Japan can be read as rude. Not always, not universally, but the underlying idea matters. The person serving you is doing their job professionally at the price you both agreed on. You adding extra money carries the implicit suggestion that they needed it, which reads a condensing sign in culture where service is taken seriously as a professional art in its own right. There are documented cases of staff running out of restaurants to return money that was left on a table. Not because they didn't want it, because keeping it felt wrong. I found this oddly moving the first time I properly understood it. The service culture in Tokyo is some of the most genuinely impressive I've encountered anywhere in the world. Not impressive because of the tips, impressive in spite of the entire absence of them. What you do instead is thank people properly. Arigato amas. Make eye contact. Mean it. Staff will appreciate a genuine acknowledgement of good service far more than cash left on the table. And you won't have someone else running after you down the street. It's less of a question of if and more of a question of when, and whether you're going to handle it smoothly or stand in front of it for 4 minutes while a very patient queue forms behind you. A ticket machine is a unit, usually just outside or just inside a restaurant. Every item on the menu is a button. Some machines have photos. Some are entirely Japanese text. The process is put money in, press a button for what you want, receive a small printed ticket, hand it to a member of staff when you sit down, food arrives. The machine handles the transaction entirely, no bill at the end, no payment at the table. Many machines have pictures next to the buttons. Point at the pictures and press the corresponding button, done. No pictures? Open Google Translate. Switch to camera mode. Point at the machine. The Japanese text is replaced by English translation in real time. Imperfectly, but usable. Decide what you want, press the button and pay. Some machines now accept IC card tap. Some are cash only. Have both available. And if you've done all that and you generally cannot work it out to order, here is the approach that has never failed me. Stand next to the machine with a mildly helpless expression and glance towards the counter. A member of staff will appear. They will help you through it without judgment, with patience and without making you feel like you're an inconvenience to anyone. This isn't a special trick. This is just how it works. The machine sounds more intimidating than it is. Your first one will take a few minutes. Your third one will take about 30 seconds. I want to make sure this lands properly because use Google Translate sounds like an obvious advice, and what I'm actually describing is more specific and more useful than the obvious version. Camera mode, not typing, camera. Works in real time. You point your phone to a Japanese text and it replaces it with the characters in English translation. Directly overlaid, live, not a photo you send and wait for, live. And it works on more than one menu. It works on the sign at a train station where you're not certain which exit leads, where it works on the notice boards in a carriage when the train stops unexpectedly and the announcement is Japanese only. It works on the ATM screen when you're not confident which button confirms the transaction and which cancels it. It works on the label of something in a convenience store you want but you're unsure of the ingredients. It works on the handwritten notice tacked to the front of a shop explaining why it's closed today. You don't need to speak Japanese to navigate Tokyo comfortably. You need data from your eSIM, Google Translate in camera mode, and a willingness to point your phone at things. That combination removed nearly every moment of genuine confusion I had on the ground. Not all of them. Sometimes the translation is approximate and you have to interpret it a bit, but approximate is usually enough. And approximately at a ticket machine is significantly better than standing there guessing when it's all in Japanese. I genuinely didn't understand Japanese convenience stores until I was standing in one. 7-Eleven, Lawson, Family Mart. They're in Tokyo approximately every 3 to 5 minutes walking in any direction. And they're not comparable to UK convenience stores. The food is generally good, not good for a convenience store, just good. Origiri, rice balls with filling, wrapped in seaweed, are fresh, well made and around 130 to 180 yen each. The sandwiches are fresh, the pastries rotate seasonally, the hot counter near the front of the store has steamed buns. The 7-Eleven has the ATM, some locations have printing facilities, some have phone charging stations. Spend 10 minutes in one on day one, look at what's actually there, and from that point they become part of how you move through the city. Let me describe Shibuya Crossing properly, because if you haven't seen it in person, photographs don't fully prepare you. It's an intersection where the lights change. Every direction goes red simultaneously. Every pedestrian crossing opens at the same moment. The straight ones, the diagonal ones, and all of them. And hundreds of people cross from every direction, to every destination, at exactly the same time. It generally looks like a system that should not function and functions perfectly. You walk through it and people move around you without friction, without collision, without anyone stepping to coordinate. It's one of the most extraordinary pieces of ordinary human behaviour I have ever witnessed, and I've been to enough times that I probably should have got used to it by now. It's an intersection. When the lights change, every direction goes red simultaneously. Every pedestrian crossing opens at the same moment. The straight ones, the diagonal ones, all of them. And hundreds of people cross from every direction, to every destination, at exactly the same time. It looks genuinely like a system that should not function, and it functions perfectly. You walk through it and people move around you without friction, without collision, without anyone stopping to coordinate. It's one of the most extraordinary pieces of ordinary human behaviour I have ever witnessed, and I've been to it enough times that I probably should have got used to it by now, and I haven't. The question is purely under what conditions you need to see it. A weekday morning, 8, 9, 10 a.m. It's still impressive. The choreography still works, but you can stand at the edge and actually look at it. You can cross it without feeling like you're being moved by the crowd rather than choosing to move through it. You can stop at the other side and turn around. Friday evening, Saturday afternoon, it becomes something else. Tens of thousands of people sound from every direction. Heat from the density of bodies, the screens above the intersection playing sound simultaneously. For some people, that is the version they specifically came for. The full, uncut, maximum intensity Tokyo experience. It can go from impressive to genuinely overwhelming before you even made the cross. The crossing isn't going anywhere. You can see it in any day. Plan for the weekday if you want to look at it. Plan for a weekend if you want to be inside it. Tokyo was the most intense city I've ever visited. I love it. I've been back and I'll go back again. But the first time I was there, by day 3, I was genuinely struggling. Not because anything had gone wrong, not because the trip wasn't working, because of the sheer volume of everything, constantly, from the moment you leave wherever you're staying. The scale of the stations, the density of information, signs, screens, sound movement, in every direction at every moment, the pace, the sense, the city always operating at full capacity, and you need to match that to keep up. I've seen other Tokyo content that frames in the intensity as a selling point. It never stops. As a positive, and for some people, it genuinely is. But I think there's a version that framing that doesn't acknowledge what it asks of you. Particularly if you're neurodivergent or you process sensory input differently. Or if you're simply a person who needs some quiet to function properly over a sustained period. Tokyo will ask something of you that most cities don't. That doesn't mean you shouldn't go, it means you should plan for it. Here's the places I go when I need to come back down. Yanaka, a historic neighbourhood in the north of the city. Shaded streets, small shrines, a cemetery that sounds uninviting and is one of the most peaceful places in Tokyo. Largely off the tourist circuit, outside of the cherry blossom season, you can walk there for an hour and feel like it's a completely different city. Shinjuku Goyon, the National Garden, 10 minutes from Shinjuku Station. Entry is a few hundred yen. There is grass, and actual quiet, an actual distance from noise of the city, continuing at the same pace just beyond the wall. I sat there for an hour once doing absolutely nothing and felt Tokyo return to the right size. The smaller temple gardens charge a small entry fee, attract almost nobody off-peak times on a weekday morning, and offer something the rest of the city doesn't: stillness. But one quiet morning, one quiet afternoon in your plan, not as a concession to the city being too much, as a deliberate strategy for seeing more of it over the course of your trip. The people who get the most out of Tokyo are often the ones who know when to step out of it for an hour. I've been Martin, and if you've enjoyed this helpful hints and tips video about Tokyo, please do remember to smash that like button. It helps the channel grow. If you want to stay connected with me for more videos like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And don't forget, tell me in the comments below about your trip to Tokyo or about the next trip to Tokyo that you're planning. Until next time, have a safe trip and enjoy Tokyo.